Songwriter Soup.
If you can't be happy for others, you never will be, right? So I can be really happy for you, but I also could be like, I am going to kick your ass next time. You know?
Healthy recipes for not losing your mind and your money in the songwriter business.
A good plan would be find someone who can grow with you. Everybody's got a list of priorities. When you look at somebody and you get distracted by like, ooh, they have this big name and that big name, that doesn't really matter that much. Like, you really need somebody who's going to answer your calls.
There's one. I like that one.
Seems like
That's a
small thing. Hi, Ben Johnson.
welcome.
Yay! This is a fun guest.
Oh boy.
I know it's funny because I say that every time, and I do admit that because everyone of
great
Well,
guests.
everybody's
We do.
fun. Yeah,
That's
good.
Everybody's
and
fun.
I'm still working down my list of friends. It's
Oh,
not like
man.
we're like
You got-
taking clients
You
or
got a
like
lot of
whatever.
friends. So,
I do,
that's
and
good.
you're one, and I'm very happy that you're here.
I'm happy to be here.
Ben and I met. Hold on. At Luke Dick's
That's true.
studio.
Yep.
And he was with his darling sisters,
Mhm.
and you were in a trio called.
Track 45.
That's right.
Yep.
And it was like up and coming, but then you had already had a hit, so that was confusing for. I
Oh.
think everyone was like, "Oh my
I
god,
don't
who
know
is?"
if I had a hit, but
You did.
I had a cut.
No.
No, I don't know.
At this point, I think I knew that
Yeah, I think I had maybe a couple songs out.
it was Charlie Puth.
Yeah,
though.
yeah.
So that one was like, oh well, then who is this?
Yeah, it was kind of random because that
It
was
was
a pop
like,
song too.
who's your
and then we were
magic
singing
genius?
country.
That why are you here? Actually, like go back to like no, but it was just like odd that you kind of came in with activity, and it was an odd mixture. And Luke and I are really close friends, so our like we'd get together
Yeah.
before the write and be like, who are these people?
Yeah,
you know
yeah,
what I
of
mean?
course.
But it was funny, like realizing who everybody is, and then now it's like a family of superstar songwriters, which is just so freaking cool.
It
So
is cool.
circle me back. What the fuck? Like, how did you end up in that order of things? Like,
Oh, so we all moved to town together when I was 19, and then KK, my younger sister, was 15. Jenna, my older sister, was 20. So we had to become her legal guardians, KK's legal guardians, to move here.
wait, are you
Yeah.
serious?
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
Whoa.
But she was, Jen and I were coming here for college. So I transferred to Belmont, and Jenna, my older sister, transferred to Lipscomb. And, we had a bluegrass band. We'd been playing all around Mississippi. And we kind of made the decision to make the big move to Music City, to try to give it a shot through the encouragement of some random things. And anyway, we made the plan to move here, and KK was like, I'm not going to stay back in Mississippi by myself. Like, this is crazy. So she moved on up, and we had a tiny little, apartment with popcorn ceilings on the wall and stuff.
Where were you?
It was Royal Arms in Green Hills, which is my theory is it's like the Kevin Bacon of Nashville. Like everybody's only like within, what do you call it? Like the 2
Yes.
degrees of Kevin Bacon or whatever.
Truth.
It's like everybody's either lived there or has someone close to him who has lived there. And it's funny, a lot of my closest collaborators and friends now live there.
Once lived there.
So
That's crazy.
but anyway, we moved here, and kind of, I never really written before. But then, so this man named Marty Gamblin, he was in the music industry a long time, but he had seen us play a show in Mississippi, and he was the one who was like, hey, y'all could actually have a shot at doing music for real if y'all wanted to, but you need to move to Nashville. And so we were like, oh, okay. And he was kind of giving us advice. And he was like, well, you need to write songs. We were like, really? He's like, well, you can either be good enough where everybody wants to give you their hit songs, or you're not good enough and you have to write your own hit songs.
Whoa.
And so I was like, oh, we're not good enough for people to give us their songs. So like, we were like, okay, we probably need to get good at writing because no one's going to give us their hit songs. And then, so that's when we got pretty dedicated to writing. I would say, and we had a year before we moved here from Mississippi, and we had like an old Mac studio with GarageBand in our basement. And I would go down there. I was like, all right, I need to learn how to produce, because again, I was just like, we got to figure out how to do everything because no one's going to do it for us. So I was like, I would, pull in like a record. I would pull in like whatever, either a Taylor Swift record or Beatles record or Coldplay or whatever. and then I would like recreate it to where it would sound exactly like it, because I was like, if I can make it sound exactly like the record, I'll know how to make records.
Wow.
So I would like play a guitar part until it sounded exactly like the Love Story guitar part, and then I'd do something else. Obviously I couldn't sing or whatever, but I would make the instrumental tracks.
What a nerdy and also amazing
yeah, it's kind of a good idea, right? I don't know. This is like
Great
before
way to
YouTube
learn.
had everything on there. Like, so I was still like trying to figure out how everything worked. So that was that. And then, yeah, I read that book, Outliers, and it was like, you got to have 10,000 hours to be good at something. So then, yeah, we all decided to write like 2 songs every day. And then we did that probably for like 6 years, except on Sundays. So we would just like sit around and write songs, and like fully knowing most of the time that they were not very good. I was like,
but you were getting in your time.
I was like,
Yeah.
but I also had this in my head. I was like, I gotta get rid of all these bad songs that are in me. You know, I was like, and I knew
God, that's genius.
I was pretty like, I was very, I mean, I had weird stuff too, where I was like, I will only listen to hit songs, like, which I don't even believe in anymore. But when I was in high school and like when I was moving here, I would like be so averse to hearing like non-hit songs, because like I don't want that in my brain. I only
did
want the
same
best
thing.
songs in my brain.
I actually
Did you?
fully did the same thing.
Yes. And
When I
it's not a
first got
terrible
here,
idea.
it's not, because I wanted to make sure what I was ingesting
Yes.
wasn't a B-side. I
Yes.
didn't want to have anything
I was like, I want my taste to be like really, really
top
strong.
tier, and also not just for the artist,
Yeah.
but for the label.
Yeah.
Like I wanted to appeal to people who were listening in a certain way. No,
100%.
I did the exact same
yeah,
thing.
it's so interesting.
And you know what's funny too? How uncool did you feel? Because when everyone was like, "Oh my God, have you heard that one?" And I'm
Yes.
like, "I've only heard the hits."
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
And you're like, "I'm lame. Like I'm lame that I don't care." But then I'm
100%,
like,
especially like in high school and in college, like they're like, I don't even want to say the artist, but you know, like the college bands that people think are cool.
Yeah.
"Oh
And
yes."
I'd be like, the new Katy Perry record's fire.
Yeah, I know. You're like banger after banger. And it's funny because Katy, that's a great example
That's
of
one
a
of my favorite
record you
records
could listen to top to bottom and just,
Yes.
it's not only are they all hits,
Yeah.
they're all radio fucking hits.
Oh, yeah.
There is no stone unturned on that
Right.
record.
Oh,
Like
so good.
everyone got some radio play.
Yes.
That
So
record.
yeah, I was like, I was
Yeah,
like,
I was
gotta
the same way.
ingest it the
I
right
love
way.
that.
Because I
love
also
that.
knew I could like mimic things really well. And I knew like musically I was ahead of my lyrics. Like I was pretty self-aware of what I was doing, I would say. So anyway, I would print out like every hit lyric on the country chart when I moved here, and then we were getting in the country world. I'd print out every lyric in the top like 40, and I would like read, like, you know, like you read a book before bed. I would like sit in my bed and I would like have my pen and I would be like circle, ooh, that's cool, that's
God,
cool.
we are very similar.
Crazy, right?
A little creepy. I did
You did the same thing?
Yes.
Because I was like, my lyrics aren't good enough, and then I was like, and then I would do crazy. I mean, these aren't really bad ideas, honestly. Like everybody should probably do this, and I probably should still do this more. But like every time I woke up, because knew like when your brainwaves wake up, they're like actually very creative. Like they're in a different pattern, right? So I would wake up and I would write down. I think I would write down 40 titles without thinking about it in my phone. I would just go, and I was just not even like one word title or whatever, a phrase, whatever. I would write everything down when I was creative, and then before I went to sleep at night, I would delete all of them except 2. Because then I was like, okay, I'll only have the best versions of these.
Okay, I did never delete. I never deleted
probably You're
definitely
anything.
not
But
a
weirdly,
deleter.
we have an episode of this podcast
Yeah.
called "Add Love and Stir,"
Yeah.
and it basically is that. It's
Yeah.
like look around the room and write down
Yeah.
literally everything you see, and does anything sound kind
Yeah.
of ish like
Yeah,
yeah.
That's
Wow.
probably a good idea. I didn't need to delete all of them.
Why did you delete them?
Well, because I think I was just like, these aren't good enough, you know?
I think that's a really cool move to go through and with a hypercritical
Yeah.
slash and burn mentality.
Yeah.
Like really just say like, okay, what did I actually? Because what's the ratio of songs that you write to songs that get cut, let alone songs that become singles? That
Or
become,
even songs that you think of that you
Truth.
actually get to write.
Here's my
Good
theory,
point.
though. My theory
Yeah.
is that I have an opportunity to slash that every time I'm in a songwriting room and I pass by it.
Yeah.
So in my head, I'm just like, oh, I'm not throwing that out.
Right.
And so the skipping of it is really like something I'm doing. I'm skipping it.
Yeah.
But then if something weird, like there
Yeah.
have been times where I'm like, that's my grocery list. And suddenly I'm
100%.
like, have you ever done this?
Yes, I know.
You're like, I'm writing cantaloupe today?
Yeah.
How did that happen? You
Yeah.
know what I mean? But it like that's why I never delete anything.
100%. Yeah, I think we've all had those. Yeah, obviously, I don't think of that many ideas anymore, so I don't ever delete anything anymore. But you're right. It's like something and do you ever do this where you scroll way
It's
back,
roulette, baby.
and then I'll just go,
I do
Huh?
it all the fucking time. Mine date back before I say this to my young artists, and it's like, because you know how songwriters have jokes they repeat?
Oh, yeah, of course.
This is one of
Oh,
Yeah,
mine.
yeah.
all right.
I'll be like, let's see. And I'll be like, this one probably dates back before you were born. And it's true now. These kids
Oh my
have gotten
God.
so young
Oh, no.
that I'm like, because I moved here in like 2008,
Oh,
and
right.
that
Yeah,
is
yeah.
so absolutely younger than
the
like
right
the
time.
year that
Yeah.
is that crazy.
That's wild.
It's
Yeah.
insane, but I totally do that. And I love doing that because I'm
Yeah.
like, I wonder what the fuck I was thinking at, you know,
Yeah.
and I love that. You do that.
Yeah. I did that. I don't write down that many ideas anymore. I feel like I take more voice memos now. I don't know if you do that as well, but
I've done that so seldom compared to
yeah.
just writing down conceptual
Yeah, fair.
ideas. Like,
Fair. Yeah. But anyways, kind of to fast forward through that. So then I would say like we were here probably a year just trying to figure out what we were doing, and like
were you all consistently working together?
oh yeah, we didn't even know that you could be like a songwriter necessarily.
Oh my God, how
at
many
this point.
years?
So 1 year into it, we were still like trying to, figure out how to become famous.
That's
Like,
crazy.
you're so close.
You're in school during this time,
Oh
right?
yeah, I was
too?
in school. Like I had a full ride for cello at Belmont. Yeah, so then
Wait, do you ever break the cello out?
I did yesterday for a record. I haven't played in a long time, but I was working on a really random record yesterday, and I pulled the cello out.
I love that.
Yeah, I don't play that much anymore, but I did for a long time, and I would play like weddings and different events
So
around
do you read
town.
music and stuff?
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
you're like educated and
Yeah, I guess
music.
so. I'm pretty anything I could learn about music, I wanted to know. Yeah, it's interesting. I feel like some people are like, I was more by ear and I didn't want to learn like the stuff. And I was like, I respect that and I understand that, but for myself, I was like, there was no downside to learning everything I could. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, but anyway, my grandma, when I was like 6, she taught me how to play piano, and then my granddad would drive. So in Mississippi, we didn't have like teachers around. Like I was the only cello player in like probably 7 counties around me. So
That sounds
we
like
would
a book
drive.
title if you ever write a book.
What part of
the
what
only
part of
cello
Mississippi?
player in 7
Meridian.
counties.
Meridian,
Kicking
which
in
is
Meridian.
Home of Jimmy Rogers. There you
Okay,
go, father of
let's
country
go.
music.
Let's go.
Yep.
Also
and,
mentioned, I'm pretty sure in an Afro Man song. So
Nice.
Sick.
Range.
Range. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, my granddad would drive me like 2 hours every Friday to take cello lessons. 2 hours each way. Really like an hour and 45 minutes each way, but yeah. So like, I'm really thankful for my grandparents. They really instilled a huge love of music in me,
It's
and
just crazy. That's
yeah.
wow, your family is such a big through line in your
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
world.
I couldn't do anything without my family.
Some
but
people come here, it's I mean, yeah.
I know.
It's wild. I
Yeah.
mean, sometimes you're kind of going at it alone. Sometimes you got a family partner in
Yep.
the whole thing. Sometimes you're defying your family to
Yeah, of
come here.
course.
It's kind of neat just to hear someone going like, yeah,
Yeah.
man, that's
Did your
just
parents
beautiful.
with your 15-year-old sister? Were
Yeah.
your parents like, go for it?
Yeah, they were like, I would say they were never like pushers,
Yeah,
but they were big believers.
yeah.
So like they never discouraged us from trying anything. They would be like, yeah, of course. Like but they also understood. They're like, hey, you have to work harder than everybody else. Like my mom specifically was like very a very big believer, but also a very big realist. She would, she'd be like, hey, like she was the one who like, hey, no one's giving y'all their hit songs. Y'all are not that good.
Little
I
mom
love
truth.
that.
Oh yeah, she was like, she'd dial it in. But
we love a
but at the
direct
same
queen.
time,
Love it.
and we didn't have a lot of money or anything, so she was like, all right, y'all have to figure out how you're gonna afford your apartment, how you're gonna afford your school, how you're gonna afford your like groceries and stuff. So like that's why once we decided to move, like we all saved up our money. We would play shows and do different jobs until we had like enough to afford our apartment for the first year, which I found. It was funny. I was with my sister yesterday and we found a little pamphlet from Royal Arms when we first moved here. And it was like $940 a month for our 2-bedroom apartment in Green Hills, which of course you can't do anymore.
No,
But
that's amazing.
yeah, I mean, we hustled and we figured it out. We were talking yesterday. We had this same meal we would eat like every week, where we would eat like spaghetti cornbread and green beans, and then KK would cook chicken, and we ate that probably like 5 days a week.
Nice.
We're like, we can't even think about that Jiffy cornbread anymore. Like, never.
Oh, the
again.
blue towel.
Yeah,
I know that box well.
Can't do that. Can't do that anymore.
No, that's crazy.
But yeah, still working up, I guess, to our first songwriting session. But so we were here for about a year, and then we were like, oh wait, this is what happened. We were playing at we played a gig somewhere, and a songwriter named Rivers Rutherford, who I know you're familiar with, and he heard us play at this gig, and he was like, hey, I would love to write with y'all. Well, we are so, I mean, we still weren't knowing what's going on. We were like, oh, dude, we were like insulted. We were like, we can write our own songs. Like, we've been
my
practicing.
God.
Like, we didn't know what co-writing was.
I love that.
Like-
no flattery.
No,
it
we were
wasn't
like-
flattering at all. You're
Yeah.
like,
we were
Oh,
insulted.
No, we've got this. We've got
Yeah,
this.
we were like,
I
how
love
dare you?
That's
And he was like,
so
no,
cute.
like, that's how it works. Like, I want to help y'all write songs. We were like, you don't think we can write our own songs?
Oh
He's like,
my God.
no, I can help you. Like, he's like, and then I think, knowing him, he's like, I'm a big deal. He's like, we're like, all
It
right.
reminds me of the end of Dumb and Dumber.
Oh my gosh.
when the
that's so
bus
true.
goes by
Yes.
and they're like, do you realize what we've done? And they're like, it's that way.
Yeah.
And like, that just totally missed the point.
100%.
That's amazing. Did he flex on you a little
Of
bit?
course
at that?
he did,
Okay.
and then eventually like, all right, we'll go. I think what he did, which was smart, he's like, well, y'all should at least come to my house and play some songs for me.
So I can show you how big my house
Yeah,
is.
exactly. We were like, oh, this is a big house. And then eventually
I did all this
yeah,
with songs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
I
You
know,
don't even
'cause it
know
is
that's
crazy.
possible.
You don't know until you go to one of
Because
those crazy
I
houses, to be
knew
honest.
like
That's the theme. Yes.
I knew like who Ryan Tedder was, like, but I knew more like, oh, he's in One Republic, but also he's so good that other people take his songs.
Right.
I didn't know it was like,
It was
oh, you
very
could have
simple.
a dedicated
Right.
job. I don't know why, but whatever. It never crossed my mind. But really thankful for Rivers because he ended up writing, like, he was our first co-write, and then he really wrote with us a lot for the next, I would say, a year to 2 years. And he was kind of taught us a lot about the co-writing process and how the town works and just kind of the business of it a little bit, not too much, but
Was he graceful with you in those times? Like, I know, like, I had a couple of real, like, wonderful
yeah,
people who were so patient
Yeah.
with how stupid I was when I just was like, all excitement,
Yeah.
no chill, like no idea what's going on really.
Yeah.
And I had like really wonderful people who kind of like let me be a toddler.
yeah.
Did he let you toddle?
100%. That's a good way to say it. And I was thinking about this yesterday. I'm really thankful for the way he was very, and Rivers knows how good he is, and Rivers is brilliant. And obviously, at this point, he's won whatever ACM Songwriters of the Year or whatever, very successful, and we have zero anything. But I've always been, I think when you start off too, maybe you're a little more like, you're 20 years old and you're like, I know what I'm talking about, and I'm like, I've written 100 songs. I know, like, so I was very opinionated, and he was not like, he was cool with it, where I'd be like, no, that's not a good idea. We should do this, and
That's really
and
lovely.
it was really nice. And he had a little studio in his house, and he would let us come over and record our demos and stuff in there. And yeah, but but all that being said, it was 7 years before I got my first publishing deal after I got here. Actually, I was 19. I saw my first publishing deal when I was 27. So whatever that is. Yeah. 8 years.
What's wild is that's just not the visual registry.
Yeah.
Like it's just funny when this town is so weird.
Yeah.
We do magic tricks where you just zoom forward and you literally go, oh, well, he was always here. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
And you just totally don't know. You totally don't think of those 7 years.
No.
And only in your own story are you aware of how long it took.
So bitterly disappointing and so much of a struggle, and you're just doubting yourself. And I mean, there's so many times where I was just like, why does God hate me?
Did you and your sisters have like where you all wrote together every time? Did you write?
Well, no. So
Separately.
By that
eventually
point?
we did start writing separately. So I think I could fast forward. So I had years and years and years of writing, without really anything to show for it. What's funny, writing with now a lot of my closest collaborators, and so like John Byron and I wrote a song every week for like 5 years, and nothing to show for it. Neither one of us could get anything going. Talking about Royal Arms, he lived at Royal Arms. Yep. And in fact, I don't know if I've ever told this story, but our first writing session, we got together from his, quote, manager at the time was from Meridian, my hometown. And so he was like, y'all guys got to meet. He's like, I have this talented songwriter I'm working with. I'm like, whatever, dude, And anyway, we show up and we have this writing session in Berry Hill and at somebody's house. And then we wrote a song and it was like pretty good. And I remember thinking, I don't know if I like this guy. He's a little cocky or something like that. And I think he said the same thing. He's like, this guy thinks he knows too much. So, we were both kind of projecting the same thing. Of like,
I love it.
And then I get in my car and I'm headed back home and he's following me. And I'm like, this guy, what is he doing? He's like, every turn I took, he'd take the same turn.
No.
And then I pulled into my apartment and he
Come
pulled
on.
up next to me. I was like, dude, what are you doing? He's like,
I
I live right here. I was like, are you kidding
I'm going
me?
to my
That's
house.
adorable.
And then he's like, you want to throw baseball? I was like, sure. And we became best friends. Yeah.
Oh my God, I love that so much. I love that. That's so cute.
So,
Man, the 5 years, just to underline, 5 years of writing a song every week
yeah,
and nothing to show for it.
Yeah, and he's pretty good and I'm pretty good, and
The amount of
think,
resilience that takes.
Yeah.
it takes a lot of resilience, determination, and it's like you're preparing yourself for the opportunity, right? Like you just have the right opportunities and the right access at the time. And it's funny, yesterday we were talking about, like, we were like talking about old songs we've written and like how we could rework them, and because we're like, they're still good songs, just like we weren't in the right place for the songs yet, and the songs probably weren't right for the place we were in either. So yeah, I mean, just years and years and years of those kind of stories where I was just working with people, and Hunter Phelps, and even I'd started working with Hardy at that point too, and it was just like all these people, and I'd look around and like, oh man, all my friends are getting deals, and like I could not get a deal. I knocked on every single door, twice, and then like everybody was just said no. And then I remember one time, this is crazy. I was with ASCAP at the time, and they threw a showcase, to try to get some interest, and which is very nice of them, by the way.
Yeah.
And invited all the publishers who had already rejected me. And then and I'm looking at all the faces like, I'm gonna change their minds this time. And then I remember calling, I think it was Mike Sistad, and I called Mike the next day. I was like, what's the word? He's like, I haven't heard from anyone.
Oh my
And like,
God.
no, all of them collectively, he said no, which is funny because. So I'll fast forward a little bit because this is just too sad for your listeners. But
actually, please don't.
And I'm
fast
going to
forward.
bring us back to another sad point after you do that.
Truly,
Go ahead,
please
fast
don't,
forward.
because our listenership is in this exact, like a lot of them are just sitting in this exact struggle bus right now, wondering if
We want the
anything will
real.
ever change.
Well,
So
I mean, I think the main tool that I've seen as a common denominator, I'm interested in what y'all have seen, because y'all have interviewed so many people successful people in our industry, and I'm sure you've seen common threads. But it's got to be just like resilience and determination. Like at the end of the day, I always say, like, probably the most talented people who exist are like somewhere that in a basement working on things no one will ever hear, like, because they aren't putting themselves out there, and they maybe don't have that resilience and determination factor. I don't know if that makes sense, but I guess in my head it like helps me go, like, I don't have to be the best, and I don't have to be like something absolutely extraordinary. I want to be as good as I can, but like at the end of the day, there's a business part to this that, like, okay, I can figure this out. So I mean, I would and then the way I ended up getting signed was a kind of combination of like figuring out where I was like, I need to find a mentor who's like 10 steps ahead of me, right? And then I was like, and then all I have to do is like reverse engineer what they did, which
Like you did
such
for
a
songs
scientist.
in
Yeah,
in
exactly.
GarageBand. It's almost
exactly.
like
I was
back to that.
like, I guess in my head I was like, this makes a lot of
Science.
sense.
Yeah, I just
So-
feel like you're a scientist. That's
I
like,
don't know. Yeah, maybe. I just think it's I don't know. I just never had doors open up for me. Like people could like knock on doors, and my mentality was like, doors will never open for me when I knock. I have to knock them down. So like everything I did was like I would go 10 steps further than I needed to because I just felt like for whatever reason.
When you look back on the knocking on doors,
Mhm.
when you think about all those doors you knocked on, is there anything you would change looking back in that time?
Yeah, I mean,
How would you redo that or not?
yeah, I
And
think
why?
somebody said something recently that I really liked. They said, I wish everything had happened different, but I wouldn't change anything.
Yeah.
You know, like I really
Mhm.
wish the first door I knocked on, I got a publishing deal and saved me years and years of heartache and strife and, spinning my wheels seemingly, but I wouldn't do anything different because I really love where I'm at and I really love the perspective I have. And I really love that, well, it kind of plays in the story. So how I finally ended up getting some momentum and action was, um, I had met, okay, I'll medium length story. Rivers asked us to go play at a gas station. All right. So Granny White Market
Oh,
at the
Yeah.
time was, I think the owners were selling or something was happening where they were shutting down. And so it was like this kind of farewell to the owners. And so they set up a little PA system. And he was like, I'm gonna go play a song. Y'all should come play some songs. So it's okay. So we show up to his house because he lives right around the corner. And there's this guy who's waiting on an Uber. He had just written with Rivers. And I start talking to him and he's from England. And I said, hey, well, why don't you just come sing some songs in the market too? Like, it'll be so fun. He's like, oh, all right. So anyway, we head over there. We all play. And then I end up becoming really good friends with this guy. His name's Fraser Churchill. And he
Oh.
ended up.
He's got to come on too. I love him.
Oh, he's
Go
the
ahead.
best.
Sorry, keep going.
And so, he said, can I get a ride back? So I took him back to his Airbnb, and he was staying at this super sketchy part of town. It was just like, I was like, people all around. He was like, yeah, I don't feel safe. He's like, honestly, I haven't even slept here a few nights because I've been felt so unsafe. And so I said, well, you should come stay at our apartment. I said, we've got a couch, our
You're
2-bedroom
so precious.
apartment.
I
So
can't take it.
he ended up staying at our apartment the next 4 years when he come here.
Wow.
So,
Oh,
and
I
he
love
stayed at our
that.
apartment. Eventually, I got a little house when I got married, and so he would come stay in our little studio bedroom, whatever thing we had on the futon downstairs. And one time when he was staying there, I had just gotten married, and I was I had been in a big fight with my wife because I didn't know how to be married. Because I
Happens.
didn't know how to to function as a husband, really, just because I was. I don't remember what exactly the fight was about. Maybe it's not important, but I was at the Kroger parking lot.
No, please tell us.
I was at
I'm
the
kidding, go
Kroger
ahead.
parking lot. I think I was just, not pulling my fair share of like responsibility, and bless my wife's heart. I mean, she was the big breadwinner in our family, and she was a touring bluegrass fiddler. So that's not a good situation. We were like making $30,000 a year together our first 4 years of being married. So anyway, that was stressful. But anyway, I was in the Kroger parking lot, and I still have the voice memo somewhere, and I thought of this like. I really need her to be patient with me because I gotta learn how to do this. I'm not there yet, but I will get there. And I took a voice memo of please be patient with me, and then I went home, and Fraser. I go down the little studio, and that's his bedroom, and he's like, "What you working on?" And I was like, "I've just got this little idea," and so we wrote it. We wrote this little song called "Patient," and then I demoed it out. And I played that for all my publishing meetings, all these meetings that would tell me no, that was one of the songs. And eventually I stopped playing it
Yeah.
because I thought, oh, maybe the song's not really any good, I guess, because no one's responding to it. So during this time, I had started playing basketball with Ashley Gorley. And which is a whole nother thing. I'm not even good at basketball. I literally I love basketball, but I was like, I need to figure out a way to hang with Ashley.
Those basketball games are pretty legendary.
Oh,
too,
they're
over
pretty
in
good,
place,
man.
too.
Yeah, but I'll tell you, I've never told the story, I don't think, but like the first time I went and played, I mean, it's like, there's like Sam Hunt out there, and like I'm just like, oh my God. And so I love sports, but out of the top 5 sports I'm good at, basketball is not in my top 5. Like, I'm not a great basketball player. But anyway, I get out there, I'm so nervous, and I remember Brian Simpson passes me the ball, and I catch it right inside the corner 3-point line. So in my head, I'm like, well, I probably need to step back to take a 3-pointer instead of a long 2-pointer. So I take 2 steps back, which is, of course, is a travel. And without dribbling, I just run back, and then I'm like,
Even I know
and I
that
go,
you
and
can't
I'm
do
like,
that.
I'm so nervous. I'm like, oh my God, I just traveled, and I look around, no one says anything. I'm like, I guess I need to shoot, and I shoot, and I swear to God, it goes over the goal into the corner, like hits some like bats, and because of the batting cage, it hits some bats. The bats fall over. It's like, and it was like so embarrassing. And Brian Simpson, I look back, and he just goes, wow. I did not shoot the ball again for I think 3 years.
Oh my God.
I'm so embarrassed. But yeah, so I go out there, and then I asked Ashley one time, I was like, hey, can you just listen to my songs and tell me why they all suck? And later he told me, he was like, that's why I'd listen to it, because he had like never heard anybody say it that way. Because I was like, I said, just give me 10 minutes, and I'd go after basketball or whatever. Some days we'd go in there, his little
Together?
studio.
Like
Yeah.
you were sitting together, listening together?
Yeah, we'd go in
Wow.
and we'd
Bold.
and I would play these things I've been working on.
Like
and
on a piano, or play them?
no,
down?
I was
I'm
demoing
just
it.
curious.
I was
Okay.
demoing them out, and it was like a big deal for me.
Yeah.
Like I would be
Mhm.
like prepping for like 2 months, like these are the best
Yeah.
songs, and I'd go write with John Byron and whoever, and I'd be like, all right, collect these songs. And
Mhm.
because at this point, obviously I'm still doing the band with my sisters, but I'm just like, I need to make a living.
Yeah.
I need to do anything. Any kind of success would be amazing. And anyways, I remember specifically, I finished playing my songs, and he says, play me something you thought about playing me but didn't play me. Isn't that a weird question?
I love that question.
It was
Mhm.
interesting, and I go, oh, okay. And I said, well, this is a song I thought was really good. I played for a lot of publishers, but nothing ever happened, so I played Impatient. And he goes, oh, okay. He's like, can you text that to me? I said, sure. And then the next morning at 2:00 in the morning, I get a call from Ashley.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, why is he calling me at 2 in the
Mhm.
morning? And so I answer it. And he goes, hey, you remember that song Patient you played me? I was like, yeah. He's like, hey, Charlie Puth's recording it right now. I mean, to go from absolutely nothing, and the attention had just come out, he's the biggest artist,
Mhm.
like, or whatever. I was like,
Mhm.
this is a weird joke.
What's happening?
Like,
This is not
I was
nice.
like, what? And he was like, no, like I sent it to him and he loves it. I was like, what are you talking about? And so then to go from nothing happening, I mean, you know how it is. All the same people who had told me no were suddenly like,
Up your ass.
we always knew
I
that
know.
song,
Up
like one of those
your
things.
ass. What's wild is this is When I Met You.
Yes.
It's got to be, because
This
this
is-
was like folklore at that point.
Yes. So that just happened. And I think, and then suddenly I was flown out to LA and met with all the publishers. And, I talk about doing things differently. I wasn't perfect on my decision making on where I would end up, but I knew I wanted to stay with Ashley because Ashley had pitched the song. He was the first person who had done anything for me, and he wasn't asking for publishing on the song. Which now knowing how people operate in those arenas, like,
Especially in that.
oh my
setting,
gosh,
that
if you
setup.
send a song and set it up, and he was friends with Charlie. So Charlie was like, hey, come finish the song with me. He's like, I didn't even write the song. He was like, this is actually a dude I just met with. It didn't even say he had my didn't say anything. And he was like, whatever you want to give to me, you can give to me. So, I really appreciate him for that. And I ended up signing my deal with him and APG, who was Charlie's publisher. So at that point I met with Charlie, and then Charlie was like, his A&R was Miles Beard, who also helped pitch the song. So
Mhm.
I was like, oh, well, this is the first people who've ever believed in me. I probably should just go with the people who,
Yeah.
believe in me. So I signed my publishing deal. And I mean, that was getting, it's cool making money in the music industry. Getting the first advance money was probably one of the best days of my life in the music industry. It was pretty amazing. I was like, oh, I'm finally a professional. Like,
Yeah.
this is,
Yeah.
hits.
it was.
Did you
It's
know what
crazy.
you were signing? Did you understand kind of the pieces and
No,
Bits of a
I would
pub
definitely
deal?
have not signed that deal if I understood what I was signing, which is funny because, my wife, I remember being on a flight with my wife, and she was looking at the deal, and she was like, well, I think this could be an issue. Like, my wife's brilliant. And she was like, I think this and this and this could be an issue one day. And I was like, 8 years into not having published new, I'm like, I don't care. I need to make money right now. I was like, and of course that's how they get you. But yeah, you know, like I said, I wish it had been different, but I wouldn't change anything. You know, that's how it is. So
Well,
I think everybody's first deal is kind
we
of
call
sucky.
it the shitty deal
Yeah,
for a
it's
reason.
shitty.
We have one chapter in this mythological book that we have is called the shitty deal phase.
It really
And
is.
it really, there's a
is.
reason for it.
Yeah.
And it's,
I want to say though, there is
important.
like a sliver of asterisks, you know, parentheses, you know, subtext or whatever that says that
there are layers.
Shitty deals are shitty, yes, but I'm not going to jump in your head about the deal you signed.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to tell you what I think your wife caught in there.
Oh yeah.
But
Well,
I will
we've talked
tell
about-
you,
we know.
there are practices that take advantage of your thrill and your excitement.
Yeah, 100%.
And there are people in your your circuit right then who could have given you a fucking heads up
Yeah.
and didn't. And I'm not shaming anyone.
Yeah.
But I am saying that
100%.
there is no way I am that person all the time.
Yep.
And I would be like, send me the deal. Let me read it. Let me look at it so that you're not getting yourself into loop in Tracy. I call on all of my people when a new songwriter, and I'm not platforming myself, but I kind of am. I am because I think it would have been so sick if just one person, two people in that phase could have just given you a little heads up about what you were signing.
Yeah, I think I would say
no regrets, but
you learn.
Yes.
And you want to pass on that knowledge and save some people the heartache. I think be very careful who your lawyer is.
Ooh.
Did you have a lawyer on that first deal?
I did have a lawyer, and
Who found the lawyer?
Well, it was Charlie's lawyer.
Oh.
So and he's a great lawyer. I mean, look, he's John Bellion's lawyer. He's a huge lawyer. I think and not saying he's a bad lawyer at all. I just think
it's a little in-house though.
It was a little in-house, and I think I was just perhaps maybe not as important to him as, you know, his other relationships. You know, I was very low on his totem pole. And he's brilliant, and you know, we're still cordial. But yeah, I think if I could go back, I would try to maybe not worry about how big a name is of an attorney, and just like find somebody who I would be like, oh, they're really, really going to fight for
who knows you,
for me.
Somebody who knows.
Let's
what
pause
you're...
right there.
Yeah.
Because hello, friends.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like the whole the name thing, that needs to be broken open.
Yeah.
Like I was there, I did it too.
Yeah.
My first lawyer was like, oh, well, he represents all of these. Amazing.
Right,
he must be unreal.
Yeah.
That is not the mark of it. It's just not the mark of it. And this is a great cautionary moment just to kind of count to 10, take a poll. It's like, remember that fucking show, like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? And they're like, phone a friend, poll the audience. Like you can do a little research before you commit to the person who walks you through this moment.
To think about, I've got a whole thing of criteria. If somebody's choosing a financial advisor, like I would give them, here are the questions you ask. Here's the thing. Here are the things you need to hear.
Yeah.
What would y'all say if you thought about the best lawyer relationship? What are the things that you think you would be hearing from that lawyer, or that you would want to ask that lawyer? Let's give some context there. Like, what?
This is an interesting question.
Yeah,
What
I love
makes
this
a
question. I mean, I think, you know, I absolutely love my attorney now, Christian Barker. And the difference, I would say, if when I started working with Christian, he was not a big lawyer at all. He didn't really have anybody. I think potentially a good plan would be find someone who can grow with you, and who everybody's got a list of priorities. I think you want to be at the top or near the top of their list of priorities. I think, like Laura said, like when you look at somebody and you get distracted by like, ooh, they have this big name and that big name. Like when you're doing attorney work, that doesn't really matter that much. Like you really need somebody who's going to answer your calls.
There you go. There's one. I like that one.
Seems like
that's a
small thing.
I mean,
but
it seems
huge.
small,
Hell
but
yeah.
I'm telling you, I've spinning deals,
Yes.
catalog sales.
Yes.
It's like we're dealing with a multi-million-dollar catalog sale and not calling back.
If they don't call you back or
yes.
answer your calls or stay in great communication with you, that says all you need to know about where you are on their list of priorities.
Yes.
You're very low, and they have, bigger fish to fry. So I think that's probably one of the most important things.
I have some like ear markers that I,
Sure.
and they're probably more linguistic than they are anything else. I don't like when a lawyer says things like, "Well, this is just how it works," or "This is how it goes," or they only present you with one option instead of saying, what I love about my lawyer is that he always says all my options, and then he says, and you also don't have to do anything. You don't have to do anything.
Right.
He makes money when I do something.
Right.
So I like hearing someone going, I don't care if it's the 11th hour, bitch. You don't have to do anything.
Right.
And he's told me that repeatedly.
Yeah.
Sarah, Jordan Keller and Sarah Smith, they're my homies.
Yeah.
They always remind me that I have the option to not put my hand to paper.
Yeah.
Which I really love.
That's great.
And I also love when I was just talking with a co-writer of ours, someone we both know, who was kind of looking for some guidance on a deal. And I sent him to Tracy because I was like, oh my God, this is my opportunity to help somebody.
Yeah.
And the thing that I didn't like about what he was saying about what his lawyer was saying was that he wasn't presented with all of his options. He himself was in the dark about his options.
Right.
And I don't,
you don't
like
know what you
that.
don't know.
A song, like you should assume the songwriter community has no idea what their options are because we're too thrilled to be writing songs. Just, oh my God, we just want to be in creative mode. We don't want to talk about that shit. If a lawyer doesn't understand how important it is to say, you can do this, you can also, like, I'm talking about more like a traditional publishing deal here with a sale.
Sure.
So those have nuances. You can go back in time. I want this old stuff. You can go ahead of time. I want I want to curl the time shorter. The lawyer that doesn't even present those as options for you is not educating you, and that's their fucking job.
Yeah.
Because I'm not a lawyer.
Yeah.
And I think in each instance, you're looking for a counselor. You're not looking for somebody to paper it.
Yes.
Exactly.
You need somebody that obviously has been through several of them. You haven't in that moment.
Right.
You're brand new. Like,
yeah.
I've been in that in business deals, the same thing. Like, hey, treat me like I'm a toddler.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because I don't know what's going on. I know my business.
Yep.
You know how to write songs. You don't know what all the options are. And I think that's the challenge I would posit to attorneys is be a counselor.
100%.
Proactively sort of educating. That's a big part of our job, I think, as
it has
professionals.
To be, right?
It's your job.
And I want to say, too, something that happened with you, and I'm not proclaiming, it's all allegedly, I'm not proclaiming that anyone has any ill will.
Sure.
But any time, I've been in this situation with friends many times where I'm like, well, who's your lawyer? And exactly what you just said is exactly what I hear so often.
Right.
Well, it's the person I'm against's lawyer. Yeah. And I'm like, bitch,
What?
This is definitely not how, I mean, we were raised on, courtroom drama. Clearly that is a, like just from a consumer standpoint, you should be able to see that that's not the right way.
Yeah.
That's how my first, label deal, it was like, oh, well, we know these people. And all of a sudden we're like,
wait a minute.
Why am I just signing? And it always happens way fast because everyone wants it to get done because they know they can make money on you. And so just a little FYI, your lawyer, like conflict of interest technically is one thing. There are people like that's actually illegal.
They deal with it.
They deal with it,
that out,
but not this way.
Yeah.
Where it's just like
fuzzy.
up the chain. It's a little fuzzy. It's down the way or whatever. And those are the deals where the ink is dry before you even fucking realize what you just did.
Yeah, I'm curious what y'all think about like. One thing I've been happy with, is with my current lawyer, I started on instead of paying hourly, I did just commission. And like eat what you kill kind of vibe. And also I feel like that was really helpful for me at least because I didn't have any money at the time. And I was already, I was having a little bit of success when I hired Christian. And it was very helpful for me to not feel like I was like trying to hang up on calls and like I could call him every day. And I literally did, and I do. I call him every day. I talk to him every day. He gives me a list of all the open items and stuff. I mean, especially signing other writers now, and
Right.
also production deals, and we're working on TV shows and like all the different things we do. Like that at the beginning was a really horrible deal for him, but now it's a really good deal for him. But it's like a commission I'm very happy to pay because he's been with me from the beginning.
What this is, again, I'm really happy. It's weird. I've never thought that we need to talk about lawyers, but we've never really talked about
Yeah.
lawyers,
This is
and I'm so
great.
glad we're talking about this.
And some people would very much disagree with that.
Yeah.
Like I know Ashley would literally die right now if he was paying commission to a lawyer. But that's just my personal view of my lawyer who's been with me
Well,
from
it
the
sounds
beginning.
like you and Christian there's some partnership. There's
It's a
lot of
partnership, and
if you're
also I
talking
think
every
we just
day,
came
then you're
up together. I think
Yeah.
it maybe probably be different if you were like already certain success level and then you're looking for somebody then. But anyway, I'm
I
curious.
mean, being
y'all's
one
thoughts.
of the recipients of that sort of arrangement,
Yeah.
because I'm fee based.
Yeah.
I love being on call
Yeah.
and knowing that it's just you kind of know, as if I'm sitting in Christian's,
Right.
I sort of know your activity.
Yeah.
I can budget that out. I'll know what my revenue is going to be.
Right.
And then there's a peace of mind there
Yeah.
that allows me to give you better advice. I think.
I
mean,
just
think
know
so.
as the recipient, that's
I
the
just
way
think
I
it's
feel.
interesting that at the beginning of your career, phobic of hourly. Anyone hourly
Of
scares me
course.
shitless because I'm like, oh God,
Yep.
like anyone in the beginning when you
Yeah.
don't have, and then there's this tendency to not want to have to pay hourly in the beginning,
Yep.
and then there's tendency to not want to pay
Commission
commission later.
Yeah.
And I respect both approaches,
Yeah.
but like be smart, be smart about kind of take temperature
Right.
about it. Like
Mhm.
there are people who talk slow on purpose,
Sure.
not to be a bitch, but like
Yeah.
that's real.
Yeah.
And it breaks my heart that they're literally like, and you're like, oh my
Hang on
God,
1 second.
get to the point.
Yeah.
And,
Be right
and you're
back.
like,
We can get this done.
it's really upsetting when you think of somebody actually consciously doing that. But we live in a capitalist society where they're thinking about that. And so it's really about earmarking where you are with what you want the person to gain from the relationship you're in. Like
Yeah.
what Tracy
Mhm.
just said to me is really loud.
Yeah.
Like you don't want to have to think about the time.
Right.
You want to be able to give a good service,
Right.
Anytime. Yeah. At
And,
any
yeah,
time. Yeah.
For me, I lean towards that. I'm not an hourly person, but
Yeah.
maybe Ashley has a different approach on just talking really fast or something. I don't know. But I
Sure.
mean, I personally want someone to
Well,
relax and represent
once you're
me
making
right.
a certain amount of money, it's infinitely cheaper to just pay hourly.
Sure.
Right. You
Yeah.
know, so, and of course for us it would be cheaper, but I think I don't know. I think I kind of want everybody to win in a weird way. I just maybe
In a
because
weird way? That's so interesting. Why is it
I
weird?
I know it's weird. I think in our industry it is weird. I think
It's yeah.
It's unusual.
Unique.
think-
yeah.
I think it's a byproduct of myself struggling for so long and then being in some really bad deals to where I'm just like, man, I really don't want anybody else to go through this. And I really, if there's a way to let the people who are in my orbit not have to struggle and not have to suffer, I mean, and like we can all win together would be the best case scenario.
We've talked about
So,
this at length. John Byron's a great example of someone I met all of y'all at the same time, I feel like. And it was after I had a moment, and then I was trying to reintroduce myself to this town because my star kind of went to LA, according to everyone here. I still lived here. But I was like kind of reintroducing
That's funny.
myself, you know what I mean? I, fell promptly into broland. That's where it fell, And I met all these wonderful dudes. John Byron is someone I just immediately liked.
yeah.
Immediately. And
Yeah.
my heart is weirdly like protective of him. And then, but in the brosphere,
Yeah.
it was interesting how I was kind of clocking something where
Yeah.
there was this really kind group, and then there was this other group that was operating on the opposite of what you just said, like
Yeah.
operating on the me for me kind of thing. And I was just clocking it. That's all I was doing. I was
Yeah.
like, I don't like the way this feels. I like the way this feels. I
Yeah.
don't like this. I like this,
Yeah.
And it's been interesting watching that, that bubble. I wouldn't say it's over,
Yeah.
but it is somewhat popped.
Mhm.
And the chips and salsa are falling where they may. And I just think it's interesting the people that like I don't know how to even say what I'm saying. I just feel like there's something like safety is a very big thing for me. I like when people feel safe.
Yeah.
And we've gone into this. We were at a writer's retreat,
Yeah.
and we just got a chance to really talk turkey about some of this stuff, and it
Oh,
was
yeah.
really
We got into
interesting.
it.
I was a little bit like, okay, I don't have to think about
Yeah.
that one. You know, I was a little bit because like you don't know.
Well, you have a heart for, you know,
this
people's
community.
people's well-being, I think.
Totally.
And
And
especially younger writers, I think probably maybe because of your experience, I don't know exactly.
And because of yours.
And because of what
to be honest with you, like because of yours, because of so many people's experience here where it's just this like raging, unbridled capitalistic approach to something so beautiful and so tender and so loving and so sweet and innocent. And I'm just like, how are these two? I don't understand how people are mashing it together. I don't get it.
It's crazy.
It's crazy.
I guess it is hard to make money in publishing. As someone, you know, my wife and I have signed writers now, and it's like, oh yeah, publishing's not like a get rich quick
Hell
game.
no,
It's
not.
very difficult. So I guess I can understand the side of it where it's like if you have like maybe investors and people coming from not creative backgrounds and like the business world, and they're going, oh, well, if we're going to make money, we need to get them for this kind of thing and this kind of thing. We need to take advantage from here and make sure they're locked in this deal for 10 years. And then we'll really have a chance to do something big.
Yes.
It's just like, but of course, I'm just coming. My whole deal is not like I want to make money. Mine is like I want to save people who are in my position and just like give them the path that I wish I had. So I will be the first to say it. My deals are not great for my publishing company. But I really do think the rising tide lifts all the ships. And like, I mean, we've had some great successes, and you know, I think in 10 to 20 years, it'll be a great thing for everyone though. Like I don't want anyone to ever feel like they're taken advantage of. There's a way that's what I was trying to say earlier. Like I really think everybody can win, and maybe I won't win as much as like some other publisher who would have a more aggressive deal. But that's fine with me. Like, I think I'm going to work longer and have a better creative partnership. And like, hopefully the writers that I work with have like a really great peace of mind, and I don't know, and they can pass it forward whenever they're in that position. So I don't know. That's the way I look at it.
I'm glad you do. And I'm grateful for that because I think your writers will pay it forward.
Yeah.
I look forward to a time when we're not talking about these particular deals anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know whether that'll ever happen, but this podcast is really trying to wave them down and to kind of distract the new writer. Hey, look over here.
Yeah.
Don't fucking sign that shit, because if we stop signing that stuff, then it will die. But I don't know. I love this community.
Yeah.
I know you love this community.
I sure do.
You're here with your sisters. It's so fun watching. All three of them are just like,
they're killing it.
it's crazy to watch.
All three of
you
you
guys.
Yep.
It's
Yeah.
nuts.
That's amazing.
And to have come here with your family and, you know, I love that shit.
Y'all still write together?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, we had our first #1 that we wrote together last year. Yeah. Which is really
That's
cool.
amazing.
Yeah. It was awesome.
To me, like one of the best songs of
I
the
love
year.
that song. Yeah.
I love it so
Yeah,
much.
Me too.
I'm just proud of you, and it's neat. Like I don't see you as like, it's weird in this town how like we're colleagues.
Yeah.
How old are you?
33.
I mean, it's really bizarre. Like that is 13 whole years younger than me.
Yeah.
And I started it when I was 28.
Yeah.
So
crazy.
like the timing is wild.
Yeah.
But we're colleagues,
Yeah.
you know?
100%.
And I just really look forward to a time when people feel safe.
Yeah.
You
I
know?
would say like, if you're signing your first deal, just make sure there's a term, like year term, right? There's a length of time term. That way, like if you sign the worst deal in the world, you can still get out of it. That's my advice.
That's
Which
the big
I
one.
think in Nashville is like more common, like to have
more the norm.
term.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Which is the
Weirdly
nice thing
not
about Nashville.
always,
But
though.
not always. I've heard crazy stories.
There's crazy stories.
So yeah, LA, there's a lot of different ways you can get taken advantage of. So but if even if you're in LA, I think just make it term based, like on time, like not on any kind of recoupment or MDRC or whatever weird reason they want to make it any kind of other term. So that's what I would say.
That would be lovely if Nashville were to influence LA in that way, in the
Mhm.
with the termed
I'm
deals.
fortunately seeing that LA is influencing
That's
Nashville.
that's what I'm
And
seeing too.
again, it's just like it's a very unbridled, approach to just a very tender job. And that to me, it's like it's unbridled like I love competition. So this is not about this is about wanting to compete fairly.
Right.
You
The
know what I
more the
mean?
merrier, yeah.
Yeah, the
Well,
more the
the better
merrier.
the art will
100%. I
be.
think you're right too, in the sense of like you're taking advantage of people who are pure creatives. And I guess I'm obviously biased in this opinion, but like I mean, look, I'm writing 2 songs a day and dreaming all day. I've abstract thought patterns. Like, you know, we are not the best people. We are the perfect people to take advantage of, I guess is what I'm saying.
Oh, we
Yes.
are.
Yeah. So
Yes.
There's a reason.
Yeah.
We're very easy
Find a
to
good lawyer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Precisely. I want to talk briefly about the show.
Yes.
How has that Okay,
Yeah.
Ben was on the show called Hitmakers,
Yes.
and they basically gathered a bunch of songwriters who all of you very interesting people.
Yeah.
I think songwriters are the most interesting people in the
Sure.
world. Do I think this job is interesting up that close? No.
No. Yeah.
So I'm wondering,
Yeah.
like, how do you feel about
a lot
like
of writing is just sitting in silence, staring
and
at the wall,
saying stupid
Saying
stuff
stupid
repeatedly,
stuff.
and no one
and
understands
a
what you
horrible batting average of songs, right?
precisely.
Right.
And so you're there. How do you feel? And I'm not dogging the show because it is an
Sure.
interesting like
Yeah.
crack open. You're like, oh my god, what is that like?
Yeah.
But I'm as a songwriter, I'm like, oh my god, don't show them that.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Don't show them that.
I know.
But what has that felt like
Mhm.
since like to have a songwriter's star sort of like where your face is now a part
Sure.
of it and your personality
Yeah.
and like
Yeah.
it's kind of living the artist life. Is that something you wanted? Is that something
I definitely didn't seek it out. I was trying to get on Survivor when they asked me to be on that show.
What?
I was trying to do something very different.
Oh my God.
I was trying to go survive on an island. But and then I ended up doing
crazy.
the show randomly instead. But I think it's definitely not, if we sat down and made that show, it would have been very different. I understand, they made it more of a reality show because if it's on Netflix, right? If every single songwriter in the world watched that show and we nailed that demographic, it would have been a massive disappointment for Netflix.
4,000 people
Yeah,
total.
there's just not enough
like
people.
4,000 max.
You can't make it for
You're
songwriters.
telling us?
Right.
I know,
So,
for real.
and it's the same people who make, Selling Sunset and all these other big shows. And so
Yeah.
they were like, hey, we have to make this for the non-creatives. We have to make it for
Yes.
So, and they kind of made it more of a reality show in that sense, which is probably, I didn't even know what I was signing up for, to be honest. I just
Right.
kind of got there. I was like, what is going on? But I found out I was going to be on the show 2 weeks before it started, really. So,
Crazy.
because of a friend of mine, a friend of a friend was like, hey, y'all should get Ben on the show because there's no one from Nashville and country, of course. I kind of view it like this, like Beyonce made her country record. It's not at all the country record that any of us would make here. But a lot of people were exposed to country music
Yes.
and now
Mhm.
love country music because of her record, I
Right.
would say. So my hope for that show was like,
An appreciation.
even though it's not
Mhm.
exactly songwriting as we know it, like I think a lot of people be exposed to the fact that we exist. And then because of that, only good things can happen
That's
for
very
our
true.
community. So I'm actually I look at it very positively for its impact, like on our community. I know if you watch it and you're like trying to figure out exactly what songwriters do, it's probably not like one for one. It's a weird like dream of what we do. But I think the positive outweighs the negative.
Mhm. I could see that.
Yeah.
I also think it's funny that the one thing that you witness in the show that
Yeah.
is a little awk.
Yeah.
It's a bit awkward.
Yeah.
Is like part of our job, in my opinion, is to be very excited
Sure.
about what we wrote that day.
Oh yeah.
Like our job is to be like, do you guys hear the potential? Do you guys
Right.
see what this could be?
Right.
But in reality, it takes 200 of those to get to one or two big fatties.
Sure.
And so your instinct to be excited, especially as cameras are rolling. I was just I was empathizing
Yeah.
for how much you all know in the back of your heads, like the odds of this being like the one
Yeah.
is
Or
kind of not
well, this
high.
is what shocked me as part of the show was I kind of figured we would have like they would say like, "Oh, you have 5 hours to write," but they would give us a day, and then we could go back and work on the mixes and make it sound good before the show came out. We had by the time production finished setting up for stuff, we probably had no more than 4 hours for each session. And not only did we have to write the song, we couldn't pre-write anything because they said we can't have anything started, right? And we
Oh,
can have ideas and stuff, but
right.
it's like we couldn't have like, oh, I
Pre-
started a
Verse
verse
Yeah,
chorus
yeah,
with
yeah, yeah.
Laura or
Yeah.
whatever. Couldn't have any of that. And we would have to write the song. We would have to record the song. We'd have to mix the song, produce the song in 4.5 hours. And in the show, they said the first draft they put out, they said we had 4 hours, and they said people wouldn't believe it. So they changed it to 6. It says 6 hours on the show.
And it's
We
not
actually didn't even
true.
have that much time.
Holy moly.
So I'm like, actually, in spite of that, like, obviously the songs are like you said, even if
they're
you,
great. That's not the thing.
I
It's
was
not, it's like they're great. It's just that we all know.
of course, none of it. I was like so shocked though, because I was like, okay, we're gonna have months to like kind of work this out and stuff. I was like, oh no, we literally have no time, and we're about to expose this to all of the world. I was like, oh my god,
I would shit. I would
It was
literally. I
insane.
think
and then at that night. You have to play it for all of your contemporaries who are like,
when we
like,
do
this
that
is
in
insane.
private, I hate it. We
Oh.
do this in private. Sometimes you're on
Yeah,
like
yeah.
a camp or whatever, and
Oh,
they're like,
yeah.
"Let's play the songs," and you're
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
"Please don't do." Like,
No.
please don't.
Especially as a producer, I'm like,
Oh,
I don't want anyone to hear
murder.
anything.
It's awful.
It's like-
that you know, and to do that and then just be filmed, and then
Oh,
you
yeah.
have to literally be like
Right. Oh,
bopping.
yeah.
Oh my god!
And I will say, like,
crazy.
I'm like genuinely listening, like, this is impressive. Honestly, like, good job, guys. Like,
'Cause
y'all
it
did
was.
In that time frame.
Because it was. I was
It
like,
truly
there's
was.
insane that you wrote a song and produced it and it sounds good. Like, I think everybody in that sense, I couldn't believe, you know, especially when I'm watching it, I don't know what's going on when I'm there, but I'm watching it. I'm like, that room was literally just like hanging out drinking for like 2 hours before they even started writing it.
Yeah.
And they wrote a fire song.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, I mean, everybody on there was very talented.
Of
so I guess
course.
that's
So it's
why,
going to
but-
be, you know, it's like I always say this on this show. It's like
Yeah.
on this show.
Yeah.
We have a show. Did
Yeah.
I just say show?
You did.
Oh my
On
God,
the
it's a
soup.
podcast.
First time ever.
Whatever. It's very strange. I just called it a show. I always say like we're kind of like the land of like we're A minuses.
Yeah, yeah.
We're always like there are some people who are they need those C's to get the A pluses.
Right.
And then there's some people who are just like you're kind of like a consistent
Yeah.
B plus, A minus, B plus,
Yeah.
A minus, B plus, and then
Yeah.
extra credit. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And then you're like, you know, but
That's a good way to say it.
but I do feel like that's our job. Like we live in a perpetual state
Yeah.
of we're doing a good job. We know how to keep it on the rails,
Yep.
you know. But that show is evidence. I was like, everything was an A minus. It's great.
yeah.
But what is the A plus? Like the A pluses has it factor, it has connection, and it isn't like a bunch of people sitting around saying how great it is.
No.
And so the show had this very interesting, like as a professional, I
Yeah.
just had a very interesting, like you're kind of taking the swagger away from any
Yeah.
A pluses because you're all, it's a banger,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, and you're like, oh no.
Yeah.
So anyway,
There's only one way to do that for the cameras.
Exactly. And they need you to do it because otherwise, what is the show?
I would just say, yeah, the show is definitely not made for songwriters to watch because it's like a weird, like I said, it's like a weird alternate reality version.
I feel
of
like
what
it'd
we
be
do.
a
It's
better show. Like,
glamorized, you know?
yes, 100%.
Yeah,
I feel
yeah.
like a better show would like be a nail tech. Like you'd actually, you know, we're doing something amazing.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen what people can do with fingernails?
Yeah.
Like I think I'd rather watch a show
Like
about excellence in fingernail.
more technical.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because our stuff
at
is
one
all
point-
vibe.
At one point, I think the show was potentially going to be like a docu-follow.
Oh.
And I think even the final iteration they were hoping for would be like they follow us back to, you know, my studio and show me
And then the
doing more of
long
my
game of
daily
it.
life after the super glamorized thing. But I think they ran out of money.
Like, sell this thing.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing. 'Cause that is an interesting little moment in songwriter history. We had our Songland moment where
Oh,
we were
yeah.
like, "What are we doing?
Yeah.
What's happening now? What is
Yeah.
this?" And then this show, it's like people are like looking at what we do.
Yeah, it's real interesting. Yeah, I had a great experience, and just being on reality TV was something I'd never.
Well, you were adorable too.
Oh.
Like you were so funny. Everyone I talked to, because you're our Nashville boy,
Yeah.
like everyone's like, "Oh, that Ben, he was so like you're just very sweet."
Yeah,
And again, I'm like, that's not good reality television.
No, I don't think they.
You're
Yeah,
so sweet.
yeah. They definitely, were looking for all the drama any way they could. But what's interesting, I always tell people, they filmed. I can't remember. The producer said they filmed, I think, like 70 hours of footage a day.
Oh.
And they filmed, I think, for like 28 days or something like that. And then the final thing comes out in 6 30-minute episodes. So it's like the amount of footage
Oh my God.
that you get. I mean, there's so
Exhausting.
many things that happen like that just obviously never even
Did
made
the
the
crew
show.
of people who met on that, like, were you friends before? Do you still hang? Do you
I
still
didn't
write?
know anyone
'Cause those
except
are all-
Whitney
I know a bunch of-
Phillips.
Oh, wow.
So Whitney, I knew because at the time she might have even been living in Nashville at the time. She lived here for a split second, but I had written with her before, and she was the one who got me on the show. So I only knew her. I didn't know anybody else. So I think everybody else knew everybody else.
Okay.
So that was a little tough. Like they didn't show it a lot, but I was really, really the first camp for me was a bit tough just because you're kind of like showing up at a summer camp where everybody's come for 4 years and then you just show
You're
up
like,
in the last year.
Hi,
and I
I'm the
don't-
new kid.
Yeah, I'm the new kid.
Yeah.
No one knows who I am. None of them listen to country music.
Mhm.
Like they have no idea who I am, and they're all So it was that was a bit hard for me, I think, but it all worked out.
It worked out.
Yeah,
That's good. I'm glad.
Yeah.
Just one last question.
Yeah, of course.
As you've jumped into publisher land,
Mhm.
it takes a certain kind of brain to be a publisher. It takes a certain kind of brain to
Mhm.
be a writer.
Mhm.
And the writer room to me is, the coziest
Right.
you'll ever be. It's
Right.
like everyone is come as you are.
Right.
And then publisher land is a little bit, you have to be a little bit like thoughtful
Mhm.
about, how long you can keep, how long this person can be given
money
their
matters.
chance.
In that
Money
regard,
matters.
money
Sure.
matters way more. And
How
you're paying
has
attention.
that pivoted the way you write? And do you enjoy them equally? Is it hard to switch hats? Like I've never even been kind of tempted to start a publishing company.
Sure.
We talked about this.
Yeah.
No interest.
Yeah.
But the people who do it well
Yeah.
can float in this way that I'm kind of like fascinated by,
Mhm.
because I just really like the cozy wozy
Sure.
of the writer room.
Yeah.
And you kind of have to get out of the like comfort. Like,
Yeah.
how
it's
does that
different.
go?
Yeah, I've always been like, I like doing a lot of different things, and like my brain definitely works best when I'm not just doing one thing. Even production, like I'm producing 1 million records right now, and I love that I can go between producing a record and writing for a record and producing and then writing. Like I love that already. I think I had a pretty good example in Ashley of like how you can do both and do both pretty well. But that being said, like I never set out to be a publisher. Like which is actually opposite. I think Ashley only wanted to be a publisher and became a writer. I only wanted to be a writer, and I accidentally became a publisher. And it really started with, when John Byron I'd signed my deal, and John Byron didn't have a deal. And I was like, dude, this is insane. You don't have a deal. You're the best writer I write
He's
with.
really great.
And so then I took him around to all the different publishers, and I was like, y'all got to sign this guy.
Wow.
So, I mean, yeah, we met with everybody, which paid dividends later as he's had success. They're like, oh, maybe Ben knows what he's talking about. But I wasn't looking for anything.
Right.
And eventually, I went to breakfast with Mike Jean Greco at frickin' Jay Christopher's up here. And he and Mike already had a relationship. We were already talking. And Mike was like, what do you think about, John Byron? And I was like, he's the best writer I write with outside of Ashley at the time, And he's like, what, really? I was like, he's going to be the next Ashley Gorley, no doubt. And I don't know if, after that moment, I was like, oh, it feels really good to help people who are in the position I was in. So everybody I work with now are people who I just feel like are overlooked and just need a shot. So like that's why I'm saying, like, I'm not out there like hunting down young talent, or like, I don't know. I'm not in the TikTok, like, this guy's got a great, I'm like, no, I'm just more like
You're
people,
waiting.
people I come across
Yeah.
who I'm like, whoa, you're so dope. You're better than I am. Like, you need a shot. Like, we just signed Fran Littersky, who I think is just the most incredible writer, and she's
Amazing.
been here a long time and like already getting cuts and stuff on her own, but like just needed like the same thing I needed, just needed access. And like in the first 3 weeks since we've worked with her, she's like gotten a Jelly Roll cut, she's gotten a Warren Ziders cut, like
Wow.
she just needed access to this thing. So that's like the most gratifying part to me, where I'm just like, I don't have to be like this publishing mastermind. I think I just need to give people access and opportunity. So like it is a different part of my brain, but also and I'm not doing any of it by myself either. Like all of our writers we have JVs with. So you know, I think that helps.
Of course.
I'm not doing anybody's day-to-day calendar. That would be insane. It's more like, okay,
it's access.
It's just access. Like how can I help? It's not even like I need to help her get a Jelly Roll cut. It's like, okay, here's what I'm working on right now. Here's what you can have access to. Like, let's figure out a way to help you win. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's at least how I look at it.
Yeah.
But the hard part is like listening to that many songs.
Yeah.
It's like probably when you're not.
Whoa.
It's like 40 to 50 songs a day. Just
while you're producing a bunch of records.
Yeah, it's a lot.
You just
That's a
double
lot of
down on
listening.
why I will never.
I was about to say,
Yeah.
Ever,
that
because
sounds like a heavy
that sounds
lift
like a
musically.
That's the hardest part.
That's asking a
and
lot.
thankfully we're hiring somebody now to help with that, to maybe weed through, to kind of just get the.
Here's a simple question that the non-writers in the room may wonder: why do you have to listen to all those songs? And I'm asking it from a pure standpoint.
Just like a
of
simple question.
Yeah.
Like, huh?
Well, I'll tell you this:
if
I don't
I'm-
listen to the
if-
third chorus of all those songs.
Yeah.
You're, as the publisher, you're kind of disseminate. Okay, which songs are we gonna?
Right.
How are we gonna prioritize songs?
Right.
That's it, right? I mean, it's
Yeah,
that
I mean,
simple?
it's like you're two
And
reasons.
for pitch also. I mean, just
Two, yeah,
Yeah.
pitch.
One is for
because
pitch.
who's pitching?
Yeah, me or
Okay,
they're
okay,
like
that's-
say like John Robert Hall is signed with, we signed him with Warner, right? And
Yep.
so like if he he had a song that he turned in and it's like, oh, this is great for Jordan Davis. Like I might text Jordan, get Spencer
Got
to hit his team or whatever. Like you're doing that kind of stuff.
That's access.
That's the access.
Yep.
I think but then at the same time I'm just like I'm listening because a lot of writers just want feedback of like how could
Yes.
this be better, or like next time I do this, like how would you look at it, like so. And sometimes I'll be like, oh, you know what, the energy on the second verse, you're just giving feedback of like,
Man, that's value. That's
massive.
priceless.
I think it's helpful. I think
Yeah.
that's what I've really enjoyed about being signed with Ashley, is that I can bounce stuff off of him and be like, why is this not working? I mean, I'll still do that. And I pulled him into something a few weeks ago where I was like, something about this pre-chorus is like not right. Like the song could be, and he was like, oh, actually, if you change these 5 words here, that actually sets something like, just real technical stuff. But it's really helpful to, I think, have that feedback.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, and I mean, yeah, I think what I'm working on right now is creating a filter before the songs get to me, just so it's not too many songs and it's gonna be like, hey, everybody, just let's make sure it's like your 2 best ideas you wrote this week. And then, but at the same time, this is why I listen to every song, because I wrote my first big hit was a song that no one cared about.
Right.
And that like I felt slipped through the cracks for a long time. So like, I'm like, we don't always know what our best work is. I mean, my first hit was One of Them Girls, and I would have sworn that was a song that was just going to go live in a hard drive. Like I didn't know. So you really want to listen to everything, because a lot of times writers don't even realize what, and not even like I'm a great publisher for that. It's a perspective thing, because when you're really close to a song, I'm like, oh, I love the reason I love this lyric is because of this, all this stuff. There's all this surrounding nebulous of this idea that no one understands, because if they weren't in the room writing it. But when you have not when you are not in the room and you have that outside perspective, you can actually hear a lot more stuff. So I like to give that perspective to people, and I like to get that perspective on my songs.
Just as a human in that moment, does jealousy ever rise up in you? Do you feel competitive when a song is better than something that you would?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm the most competitive person in the world, and I want everybody to win.
How do you
Rising
manage?
tide lifts all the
I know.
ships.
But how do you manage that? Because
But let me tell you
there have
this.
been people on this couch that literally live in a state of jealousy. No one knows but me.
Oh.
But I like publishers who can't take it. They can't fucking take it.
But we all deal with it. Like
we all deal with it, the human
hands
part.
down.
But being a publisher is a choice.
Yes.
Sure.
As a songwriter,
how
you're
you
making
deal
a
with it.
choice.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I don't think I would struggle with that part of being a publisher. It's the listening and the calendar and the dreams rising and falling on my shoulders. Like, I
Yeah.
can't do it. But how do you handle that, and how do you compartmentalize? Like, that you're in the
Yeah.
prime of your career.
Yeah, I think a win for them is just a win for me because my motivation coming into it is not to be like this mastermind publisher. It's like I want to give these people a shot. So every time they win, I'm like, yes, that's
Okay.
amazing.
Mhm.
I'm so glad they get this opportunity. I'm so
Mhm.
glad. John Hall just has the Madison Beer single right now.
Sick.
Bittersweet. I'm like, oh, I would have loved a Madison
Yeah.
Beer single, but it's not like I'm sitting there going, how
Mhm.
dare he get that
Yeah.
over me? I'm
It
like,
kind of reminds me
that's
of
so
when
sick.
when Billie Eilish recently was like, I know there's a couple billionaires in here, and she's like, "Why are you a billionaire?"
Yeah.
There is a little bit of that with this, where you have had a tremendous amount of success. You do have a full ass roof over your head
Yeah,
and
yeah.
plenty of amazing
Yeah.
Whole Foods ass food on your
Yeah.
table. Like, you're fine.
Oh,
And
for
I
sure.
I can relate to that. Like,
Yeah.
I love that. But I feel like there's this endless pit energy
Yeah.
where the jealousy pops in and it's just silly. But I also understand the
yeah.
human condition of it, and I have so many
I
feelings.
definitely don't get competitive with. I think I'm more competitive with my contemporaries. You know
Got
what
you.
I'm saying?
Yes.
So like, and it's not in an unhealthy way. Like,
No, that's
I
good.
think
Competing is
I always say
wonderful.
if you can't be happy for others, you never will be. Right. So I can be really happy for you, but I also could be like, I'm going to kick your ass next time. You know, like I think it came from playing sports growing up where
Yeah.
I was taught to be a good sport, you
Yeah.
know, and it's like we lose the baseball game, you go shake everyone's hand,
Yeah,
right?
that's right.
So if you beat me out for that single that I really wanted, I'm going to go shake your hand and be like, dude, I'm happy for you. But at the same
Yeah.
time, and I'm going to be like, same thought. Like when all these writers got signed before me, I'm
Mhm.
like, I'm going to prove to all these publishers that
Yeah.
they're idiots. You know,
Yeah.
like I have a really big competitive drive.